different poses you can do to kind of release your hips and get more hip flexibility. I know a lot of people struggle with that, and it's one of those joints that kind of you need to have some flexibility in to be able to do other poses and build onto your practice. So you can incorporate these different stretches into your yoga practice, or you can just do them on the side, like before bed or when you wake up. So we're gonna start in child's pose, which some may find a little difficult. If your hips are super tight, you may not be able to sit back all the way on your feet, but it's a good stretch to kind of just start out and a good way to start in any practice. So you're going to reach forward and you're gonna sit back onto your heels. So you can stretch your upper back and your shoulders. If you can, put your head all the way down to the ground and then sit back on your feet and just feel that stretch. If your hips are super tight, you may not be able to sit all the way back, so you may be like up here, but if you can, work on sitting back and hold it for about 30 seconds. Another great pose to kind of start out in is just a squat. So we're gonna come up and about shoulder width apart, a little bit wider than that, but you're gonna sit down and you're going to place your hands in prayer pose and you're just gonna use your elbows to kind of push your knees back. So this is a great way to really open up the hips because you're able to use your arms. You wanna have your back flat and straight and sit up and then push your knees back using your elbows and then sit down as far as you can. You may not be able to, you may be more like this, but you wanna make sure that you can work on flexing out and have the feet turned out and then just sit down or pose. And again, you can hold this for 30 seconds or so. If you need a break, you can also come up, reach up, and come back down. So you can kind of add some movement in there. Another great pose is something that you may have done in like gym class, butterfly pose, that's what we used to call it. But this is super great for opening up the hips. Now a lot of people their hips are not built the way that you're gonna have this much turnout. Like I can get my knees all the way down to the ground. Some people can't, and they physically can't. Their bodies are not meant to do that. So that's totally okay. Wherever you feel that it blocks, that's where you stop and that's where you hold the stretch. But it still is opening up and releasing the hips. So come down to sit like this. You may even have your feet out wider. It really just depends on where you feel comfortable. Again, these are stretches, so you're gonna over time progress. And so your knees are aiming towards the floor. Your feet are gonna come in as close as possible. Your feet are placed together. And then when you can also come down. This is where you really feel the stretch. Is you're gonna come down and bring your head to the floor if you can. And you can hold this for 30 seconds or more, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now, this also leads me to talk about pigeon pose. Now, I know a lot of people are like intimidated by pigeon pose and like, oh my gosh, you really feel it, but it is such a great way to open up the hips. So you're going to start with your leg is going to be out. So you may have your leg, so it's like flat, so it's like a 90-degree angle here. So you're going to start, let's start with the right leg first. And you may feel it in your outer hip. So on this side, the outer side of your leg, you'll be able to see when I switch to the other side. So you may want to start here to just kind of that initial release. And then when you're ready to kind of go down further, you can leave your leg here if it's more comfortable and just lay your body down over your leg. Or for the actual pigeon pose, you want to bend your leg in and have your foot like basically touching your other hip, and then you can go down. Now this you'll feel it on your butt, and you also feel it on the outer thigh of the other leg, and it's really opening up that hip. So again, you're gonna hold this for about 30 seconds or so, and then you can come up, and then you're gonna switch to the other side. And again, start here, release it, kind of move around, feel a comfortable spot. You can go down this way, and you can feel it more in the outer thigh muscles and the outer leg when you do this way. Or you can bring your foot in and then you go down. And again, hold this for about 30 seconds. Now, another variation of pigeon pose is when you're laying down. So this is a reclined pigeon pose, which is also called like crossing the needle. I absolutely love this pose. It's such a great stretch to do like at the end of your yoga practice. So you're gonna come down, laying down flat on your back, and bring your right foot up. You're gonna cross it over the left leg, and you're gonna bring the left leg up. And then you're going to stretch. So you're gonna cross your fingers over your knee, about a little bit lower than your knee, and you're going to press that in. So you're gonna use your leg and your hands to bring the other leg towards you. And you're really gonna stretch that, and you should feel it on this, like this muscle, your hamstring and your thigh, the other leg. And it feels so wonderful when it's like the end of your pose. You should also kind of feel on all the outer muscles of that one leg. Kind of give it a little rocking, really feel it. Again, hold this for 30 seconds or so. And then you can switch, clasping the other leg with your hands and just bringing that leg in as far as you can. And it's totally okay to raise your butt off the ground. I know a lot of times you're like, oh, keep it planted, but you're not gonna be able to stretch it if you don't lift your butt off the ground a little bit. So hold that for about 30 seconds and then come down. Again, that's one of my favorites. Now, another one is we're gonna do some lunge warrior type poses. So actually the warrior series is a great way to stretch your hips. So let's say you're gonna come down into warrior 1 and warrior 2. And then once you get here, if you bring your top arm down, your left arm is up, and then you can use your right shoulder blade to push your knee back, and this really opens up the inner thighs. And this is gonna really release that, like those inner hip muscles. So you can hold this for as long, 30 seconds or so. Again, you can use this as part of your yoga practice. So whenever you come in to this pose, you can use that and really focus on opening up the hips. Then from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring your left arm down. Now this pose, you might be tight, so you may feel a lot of stretching right now. However, a great way to really stretch out that hip is to come down on your elbows. And now this, you may feel it tight. This may be perfect for you to just kind of sit in lizard pose. Now, if this is a little too much, you can also bring your knee down. So you're gonna have lizard pose down here. And so you can really feel it in that right hip. If you want the more advanced variation, you can be up on your toes. And then from here, another great advanced variation of this is either coming down, again, you can go right into pigeon pose from this, or to take it the next step, you can balance and cross your arms behind your leg and behind your back. So this is basically lizard pose without your hands. And this works on, obviously you're focusing your balance, but it also is opening up that hip and giving you a nice deep stretch. And then to come out of it. So again, the other side, warrior 2, come down, really open up that hip. So again, you're gonna use your elbow and your shoulder to kind of push that other leg back and really this opens up your chest as well. And then when you're ready, you can come down and bring them both down. Bring your elbows down. And sometimes I like to even kind of rotate the leg that's bent out so you can kind of really feel it. Again, stretching is to kind of do what feels comfortable, but also comfortable enough to go further. So you want it to feel uncomfortable, but comfortable. So that's where the little movements, a little bit of rocking can help. And again, you can do this advanced variation of bringing your hands behind your back and crossing. And again, hold this for a few breaths. So this can be either 3 to 5 breaths or 30 seconds, depending on if you're incorporating this into your actual yoga flow or stretching on the side. Okay. Another great hip opener is you're gonna, so basically butterfly pose, but reverse. So What we're gonna do is we're gonna come down and we're gonna slowly release the hips like this. So you may need to stretch out your back first. So we'll start here. And we're gonna stretch out the back a little bit. And then when you've stretched out your back, you can come down and do this like reversed, so frog pose people call it. Again, you may be stuck up here for a while, but you're gonna slowly, it's all about releasing those hips down to the floor. Your feet are, the soles of your feet are pressed together. And again, you can either be on your elbows like this, you can come all the way down. Like I feel that like this is so comfortable, I could stay here forever. And you're just gonna work on pressing those hips into the floor and also your heels into the floor. So don't forget, don't have your feet like up like this. You really wanna press, when you press your heels down, it helps you get your hips down. And just feel that. Again, bring your heels as close to your butt as possible as well. To really, you wanna be as small and tight as possible in this stretch. So bring your heels closer to your butt and your hips to the floor. So you can hold this, again, 30 seconds. Whatever feels comfortable. Now, the last one I'm going to show you is called Happy Baby Pose. I also love this one. This one's a great one to incorporate when you're doing the cross the needle or the reversed pigeon pose. So it's kind of using both legs at this point. So what you're going to do is you're going to come back onto your back. You're gonna have your feet up and you're gonna grab the outsides of your feet with your hands. And so you're in this happy baby pose and you're going to press your knees down to the floor as well. So your knee to your butt, so your thigh muscle, you're gonna aim to get that down into the floor. So press it down. You can use your arms to help and your hands can kind of like pull your feet down to the floor. And really feel that stretch. You're really opening up the inner thigh and the hips here. It's a great release and it's a great one to kind of release the lower back as well at the end of your yoga practice. Especially if you've done a ton of back bends, this one just kind of evens everything out. So you can hold this. And one more when you're in this position already. This is a fun one. You're gonna grab your toe, your big toe with your hand. And you're going then to grab your ankle with the other foot and you're just gonna stretch out the hamstring of one leg. I like to raise my leg on the ground because it also helps with a little bit of core strength. And then you can lower down and then you can do a one-legged happy baby. So you can really focus on one hip at a time and you can even use the other leg to kind of help you really get that down. And hold that. And then you're done, release, and then grab the other toe, bring it back and stretch out that hamstring, and then pull that one leg down. And again, you can use this hand to kind of help you. I would grab the ankle, don't necessarily pull on your hamstring, and just really stretch out that hip. And then when you're ready, release it. And there you go. Those are some super simple stretches that you can either incorporate. Some will be more towards the beginning of your yoga practice. Some will be incorporated towards the middle, like the different warrior poses. Or these last ones, laying on your back, are great ones to kind of end your yoga practice when you're in your cool down. So let me know if you already do some of these poses. Let me know if you want me to show you some other stretches for other different body parts or different, ailments that you have. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you back here next week.